Hi guys! So I'm really hoping that my head is in the shot right now. I normally record these sorts of videos where you can see me. Well, whether or not you can see me or not, I don't know. Anyway, I normally record them on my laptop so that I can see the video as I am recording it. But I wanted to be able to um, just get better quality, and so I'm recording on my phone, but I'm recording using like the normal camera, so the screen is facing away from me, so I have no idea whether my head is in the shot. I tried to raise it up a little bit to see, but we'll see. If it's not too bad and the rest of this is fine, then I'm not going to worry too much about it. Otherwise, I'll re-record or something. But anyway, what's the point of this video? This is my holiday gift guide for 2015, and I'm calling this a gift guide for the right curious. So kind of what this is geared towards is, if you're watching this, you probably are all about writing instruments. You use fountain pens or pencils or something. You have an appreciation for the finer writing instruments in life. So this is a gift guide for those people in your life who, have taken notice of your hobby and they've maybe commented about it and maybe they seem interested but not interested enough to kind of take the leap yet on their own. So this is kind of, for that person, maybe a coworker, maybe a sibling or a friend or a partner, who you can tell wants to try it out and is always, trying out whatever you're using, but just hasn't made the leap yet. So I'm going to try and keep most of these things on the lower end of the price scale because, you don't want to be spending $100 on a pen for someone if you don't know that they're going to use it. It's different if it's maybe like a spouse or a partner, or like a sibling or a parent, where if it turns out that they don't like it, you can sneakily reacquire that thing. I've done that for Wesley. I bought him a very nice mechanical pencil, although I knew he would like it because he likes mechanical pencils. And then for my mother, I bought her like a Lamy Studio, which is not a cheap pen, but I knew that if she didn't like it, eventually it would find its way back to me. But I wouldn't do that for like just a friend or something like that. So this is those like lower price gifts for friends, family, coworkers, whatever, just to kind of get them maybe introduced, give them a little taste of the writing hobby. And I don't know how much you can see, but around me I have all kinds of things spread out. These are mostly just examples of kind of the things I'm talking about. I also have my computer right here, and you're going to see me looking at the screen. That's so that I can tell you prices as of now, which is December 4th, 2015, prices for some of these items and where you can get them. Most of these things you can get on, Amazon or something like that. I'm going to be avoiding Amazon because I'd rather support smaller businesses, places like Jet Pens, Goulet Pens, CW Pencils, stuff like that. So most of the prices I will be quoting are from those sites, and if you want to find them on Amazon and get them cheaper, that's fine, but I will be quoting and linking from those other sites that I mentioned. Also, speaking of links, so links to any products that I talk about will be on the blog page. So I'm not going to link them all underneath the video on YouTube because that just becomes a mess. So I will link to the blog post. If you want to, click through on any of these things, head on over to the blog post and that will have all the details. But let me grab my list so that I don't get off track. Let me scooch my computer. Okay, so my gift guide for the right curious. So I'm going to start with writing instruments, and I'm going to start with pens, and then I'll work through to pencils and then paper. And then I'll talk about how you can kind of round some of these out into like a full kind of like set, like a proper gift package. So starting with pens, let's start with fountain pens. So introducing someone to fountain pens is kind of tough, because maybe they've handled yours and kind of, have expressed some interest. But fountain pens are not cheap. Like even the cheap ones are not cheap. $20 is not a small amount of money to spend on a pen. So for this, I picked a couple of pens that I know are very robust. They have nice, hard steel nibs, so it's unlikely that someone's going to bust the nib up. And they have pretty robust bodies so that they can be treated pretty roughly and not give too much trouble. So the three that I picked is Pilot Metropolitan, which I don't have one of those, but I know that it's a very well regarded fountain pen among beginner fountain pen users and even among experienced fountain pen users. The Pilot is known for their quality and the quality control and consistency, and I've never had a bad Pilot pen, even the cheaper ones. So a Pilot Metropolitan is a really good idea for someone who kind of likes heavier pens. Someone who maybe already has a nicer pen that's heavy and they want to try a fountain pen, because the Pilot Metropolitan has a metal body. So that's something to keep in mind. It's good for someone who likes a heavier feeling pen. And it comes in a lot of different colors, so if you're getting it for a guy, maybe you get the black one that's very kind of plain, very nondescript. If you're getting it for someone who loves bright colors, get the bright colored ones. So there's a lot of choices there, which I think is really great. And those run about $15. You can get them on Jet Pens, Goulet Pens, lots of other places. They're relatively cheap, and I'd say a relatively low risk gift. So like I said, that is a very heavy pen, so that's better for people who tend to like heavier pens. On the other end of things, if you know someone who has expressed interest in fountain pens, but they're used to using something like a Bic stick or something like that, something very light and, I don't want to say flimsy, but something very light and kind of insubstantial. A better idea might be the Pilot Kakuno. And I think this is a relatively recent introduction to the US. But this is another Pilot, and this one is a plastic body, so it's very light, but it has the same nib as the Metropolitan, same nib and feed and everything. And I think this is a really great pen. I say the nib is the same. This nib is slightly different, and I don't know if I'll be able to get my camera to focus on this, but if you can see that, the nib has a little smiley face on it, and I think that is so much fun. It comes in two different kind of body types. There's the ones with the gray bodies that have assorted lid colors or cap colors, and then there's ones with white bodies that have pastel cap colors. And the difference, other than just the colors, is that the ones with the gray bodies have a normal winky face with two eyes open. The ones with the white bodies have a normal smiley face on these ones. The ones with the white bodies have a winky face. So that's really the only difference. But like I said, these are much lighter, still very tough, and it's very nice because unlike the Metropolitan, which has a round section, this one has a faintly triangular section, and I hope that's showing up. It's not quite as dramatic as like the Lamy Safari, but it is just enough that if someone's kind of new to fountain pens, it guides their fingers into the right place, and that's really nice. So if you're not into Pilot stuff, another good kind of beginner fountain pen, this one again is about $15. You can get it again at Jet Pens. Goulet does not have this one yet. I think you might be able to get them like on eBay or something too, but Jet Pens is probably your best bet here because, if you're within the States, then it's shipping from within the US and it should be pretty quick. Okay, so then moving away from Pilot into something else. This is not the pen that I want to talk about, but a Kaweco Sport is another good kind of lower end fountain pen that's a good one for beginners because it's very compact, it's got a very robust plastic body, but it's small in the hand but large when you write, I don't know, whatever. It's that small size when it's capped and then it uncaps to be a full-size pen. And I find this to be very comfortable. Again, the plastic one, the regular Sport, is going to be a lot lighter, so it's maybe better for someone who's used to using lighter pens. But I think that's another really good option. And the nice thing about the Sport is that unlike the Pilot pens, the Sport takes a standard international cartridge, which gives you as the gift giver and the recipient a lot more choices for ink cartridges if that's what they're going to choose to do. So there's that. Okay, so that's it for the fountain pens. And the Kaweco Sport is somewhere between $20 and $25. I've seen prices kind of all over the place. Expect to pay about $24 or $25 for them. And you can get those at Jet Pens, Goulet Pens, pretty much anywhere that carries fountain pens, I think, will sell the Kaweco Sports. So pick your favorite fountain pen retailer. Okay, so that's it for the fountain pens. So moving into some non-fountain pens, because there are people out there who just don't like fountain pens. I know, cray-cray, right? But this is mostly geared towards people like my little brother. My younger brother swears that the Pilot G2 is the best pen ever made. And for him, it is, because he loses pens, he's very rough on his pens. He works a job where, it's not like a physical labor job, but it's a hard job where he's on his feet moving around all the time. So for him, he can't have an expensive pen with him, but he wants a pen that's always going to work and is reliable and, is nice to write with. So he swears the Pilot G2 is the best pen ever. So if you know someone like that who swears that the Pilot G2 or the Bic Stick or something like that, or the Bic Crystal, they swear that that's the best pen ever, and you're like, no, you need to experience what else is out there. So some things to kind of introduce them to the world of slightly nicer pens, but still gel pens. My first suggestion is a Pilot Juice. This one has a very similar form factor to the G2. The refills are actually the same size as the G2 refills. The difference is that they are better. They have this cool little clippy, which I think is awesome. It makes it much harder to break off the clip, which is always my problem with other pens. They come in a wide range of colors, and they are like archival quality, so they're waterproof, UV proof, they're ridiculous. And even the brighter colors like this orange are very saturated, very easy to read. So the Pilot Juice is available either individually through places like JetPens, where they cost about $1.65 each, or you can buy them in, and they come in 3 different point sizes, so the 0.38, 0.5, and a 0.7 millimeter tip size. So you can buy them individually like that in a whole range of colors, or you can buy them in packs. I think like the 0.5 millimeter comes in a 12 pack, a 24 pack, and a 36 pack, I think. Some of the other tip sizes I don't think have quite as many packs that they come in, but I would suggest buying them individually, because as someone who got a 12 pack last year, a lot of the colors like in the 12 pack I didn't find very usable. They include like baby pink and this really bright apricot orange and a really light like leaf apple green or something and a sky blue, which, while they are readable, are just not colors that I'm ever going to use. So unless the person you're giving it to, you think that they will use all of those colors, I'd suggest buying it individually instead of in a pack. So then another pen that is kind of a step up in terms of gel pens is the Zebra Sarasa Clip, which I haven't used. I don't have any here, but they are loved in the gel pen community. And it's very similar. It's a very similar form factor to the Pilot Juice, where it has kind of a rubbery grip and then a little hingy clippy thing. Again, it comes in a whole range of colors, lots of different point sizes, and you can buy them individually. I don't know if you can buy them in packs, but I know you can buy them individually through JetPens. They're a little bit more expensive though, at about $2.20 a pen. So just because I've used the Pilot Juice and I really like the Pilot Juice, that's probably the one I would pick out of the two. But both of those are good options for someone who you'd like to introduce to the finer things, but don't want to go too far out of their comfort zone of gel pens. Okay, so that's it for pens. So let's move on to some pencils. Pencils, I feel like wooden pencils are one of those things that really just catches people's attention, because they never see people writing with a wooden pencil. So they're like, what, a wooden pencil? And then they try it and it's nice, and they're like, oh my gosh, I want this. So a good way to introduce people to wooden pencils is to give them a sampler pack or create a sampler pack for them. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy someone a 12 pack of Blackwings, which are expensive for one thing, and they may not like them. And then they have a dozen of these pencils that they're never going to use. So I'd say it's a much better idea to give them a whole range of things so they can figure out what they like, and then they can go buy more of them, or you can buy more of them later for them, either way. So the first sampler pack is the Palomino sampler pack. This isn't the whole one. I've taken a couple pencils out of here, but it's the Palomino, I think it's the Palomino Collection Pack, which you can only buy through pencils.com. And it includes one each of the 3 normal stock Blackwings, so the MMX, the Pearl, and the 602. It includes one of the Palomino HBs, a Forest Choice, 2 Golden Bears, and 2 Prospectors. And I think this really is a good introduction to kind of the world of better pencils than the yellow ones you're used to from grade school. The Forest Choice, the Golden Bear, and the Prospector are not my favorites. I don't like them at all. But they're still a slight step up from like normal pencils. And then when you get into the Palomino HB, and then the 3 Blackwings, those really kind of give people a taste of like, oh, this is what's out there. So I think that's a really great idea for someone you kind of want to introduce to pencils. So this one is, okay, so this is about $11, and like I said, you can only get it through pencils.com. The next one that I would suggest, which is out of stock right now, I don't know if it will be back in stock anytime soon, but Jet Pens also has a wooden pencil sampler pack, which I have not tried, but it includes a couple of the Uni Mitsubishi pencils, a couple of Tombos, and a Staedtler Lumograph and a Staedtler Wopex. So that again gives people a really good kind of scope of what's out there, a really good range to try of what's out there. So that's a total of 8 pencils, and that costs about $10. And like I said, that's only available through Jet Pens, and it's currently out of stock as of December 4th, but might be in stock soon. I don't know. But again, that's a really good way to kind of introduce people to a range of pencils without overwhelming them by getting them a dozen of any one pencil. Another kind of, I would call this a sampler pack, I guess, sort of. I've talked about the Tombow Mono Professional in my Tombow pencil comparison, and I really like this one. You can buy these in a pack of 12 that's called the Tombow Mono Drawing Pencil Set. And I mean, it can be used as a writing pencil, but they call it a drawing pencil set because it contains 12 different grades. So it basically goes from a 6B all the way up to a 4H in terms of hardnesses. So it covers a wide range of hardnesses. And so that'd be really great for someone who, you know, maybe like an artist or something, someone who's kind of artsy, or even if you just want to give someone a range of grades to try. Maybe someone you know already kind of likes pencils, but you want to let them try some more stuff. So that's another really good option. And these are great pencils. I love these pencils. And that I know is available through pencils.com, and that's about $14 for a dozen pencils. So that's a pretty good one too. And then my last kind of suggestion for pencils is to create a sampler pack for someone. So places like CW Pencils, you can buy a lot of pencils individually. And so I would suggest maybe just going through and picking out 10 pencils in the range of, you know, from a 50-cent pencil up to like a $2 pencil. And just picking a range of different brands, different hardnesses, just all kinds of stuff, with erasers, without erasers, anything. Just make sure you cover a lot of different things and put together your own sampler pack based on maybe what you like, based on what you think that person will like. Because that's the problem with the kind of pre-put together sampler packs, is that, you know, you may know that the person you're giving it to hates HB pencils. So it doesn't make sense to give them a whole bunch of HB pencils. But if you know that, you know, they like a harder pencil, like maybe they like an H or a 2H, well then you can buy them a bunch of those kind of pencils. Or if you know they like a softer pencil for sketching, well then buy them a bunch of softer grades of lead. So I think that's a really good idea too, is to just put together a sampler pack for someone. Okay, so that's what I have for pencils. Now on to some paper choices. So the first one I would have to say is probably Field Notes. It's not so much that Field Notes are that great. I just think like they invoke some sort of visceral response in people that, I don't know, like people want to use them. And I've written before about why I like Field Notes, and part of the reason I like Field Notes is because they're kind of rougher and they're not the best quality paper, it gets rid of that blank page syndrome. And so that might be helpful for someone who maybe wants to start journaling, especially because they're a smaller size, it's not so hard to fill up the page. So I think it's a really good option for that. I have this one here just as an example, but you know, even one of the 3-pack of craft ones, like, is very impressive to someone who doesn't normally use notebooks or things like that. So, you know, you could get them a mixed 3-pack of the craft ones, and, you know, that's $10. Or you can get them some of the fancier seasonal ones. Sorry. You could get them a pack of the seasonal ones. Again, still just $10. You can get those from any retailer you like that sells, you know, writing instruments. I know Jet Pens carries them. Pencils.com carries them. Pen Chalet, Goulet Pens, pretty much any retailer of, you know, pens and pencils carries Field Notes. So that's, I think, a good choice. I would mostly suggest these for someone who likes gel pens or pencils, not someone who likes fountain pens, because as we all know, they're notoriously not fountain pen friendly. And that's kind of a poor introduction to give someone who maybe you're getting a fountain pen for the first time, paper that doesn't always work with them. So for people who, maybe prefer fountain pens, I definitely would suggest the Story Supply Co. I did the unboxing of these, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. But these are very friendly to fountain pens. The paper is really nice. Like it's so smooth, and like, the person is going to open these and be like, oh, that's what nice paper feels like, So these are really nice. I like that about them. And I just like, supporting a small company that's, just getting started and hitting the ground running and supports, good process and stuff like that. So that I think is a good option for someone who prefers fountain pens and things like that. Another really good pocket notebook, which of course I don't have with me, is the Write Co. notebooks. Oh, sorry. Story Supply Co. notebooks can be bought off of their website for $10 a pack. So Write Notepads, they produce really good notebooks as well. Theirs are spiral bound, except I know they just released some like perfect bound, which is using glue binding, pocket notebooks. But for the most part, theirs are spiral bound. And I really like their notebooks. Like they're really kind of rustic and very rugged. And they come in the pocket size, the 3.5 by 5.5, or they come in roughly A5 size, which is about 5.5 by 8.5. And those are going to run you, let's see, about, why am I not seeing this? What am I doing here? What am I doing with my life? Anyway, the big ones are going to run you about $16 for one of the big ones, which is not bad because they have a lot of paper in them and it's a really good binding. And I think the smaller ones are going to run you about 12 or so. I'm not seeing them right now. Oh, pocket notebooks? I don't know. I'm not seeing the small ones on their website. Maybe they discontinued them. I'm not sure. The small, like, perfect bound ones that I was mentioning, those are about $10 for 3-pack. So again, on par with Field Notes or Story Supply Co. And I'd say those are really for someone who really likes that kind of rustic aesthetic. Or they also do a bunch that have like different, like they're dedicated to different cities. So like they have a Baltimore one and a DC one and Brooklyn and Cape Cod and like stuff like that. So for someone maybe who's from one of those places, that's really cool too. Okay, so that's, and then the last one for paper that I would suggest, and this again is for someone who, likes fountain pens or something like that, would be a Leuchtturm notebook. This one is a pocket-sized one in the linen cover, which is really hard to find. But even, they mostly make the easiest ones to find are the A5 size ones, which again is about half letter size. And those ones run you about, are going to run you about $18, $19, and you can get those from like Goulet Pens. Or if you live near a Paradise Pen company, they carry them in store usually. So you can get those ones, or the pocket ones are about $13 or so, and they come in a lot of different cover colors and a lot of different like rulings inside. So like dot grid and grid and lined and blank and stuff like that. So those ones again are one of those ones that like someone's gonna open it up and they're gonna feel the paper, and the paper's so smooth they're gonna be like, oh yes, I like this, So that's a really good one, I think, for that. Okay, so let's talk about how you can kind of put this together into like a full package for someone. So if you're gonna get someone a fountain pen, I would suggest getting them some ink to go with it, because most fountain pens come with a cartridge, but that, what happens when they write through that and then they're like, well, what do I do now? You kind of got to hook them a little bit more than that. So for something like the Metropolitan or the Kakuno, I would suggest just picking up a pack of Pilot cartridges with it. Because while you can get converters for these, and I think the Metropolitan comes with some sort of converter, don't give a new fountain pen person, liquid ink and a converter to deal with, because that's just too much. I'd suggest just picking up a pack of cartridges, because the cartridges hold so much ink, and by the time they run through those, then they can start to explore on their own. So I would probably suggest the blue-black cartridges just because I love Pilot Blue Black. And it's suitable for workplaces, and it's just different enough, I think, from like Big Sticks and things like that, that it gets someone interested in the different kinds of fountain pen ink out there. For the Kaweco Sport, I mentioned that takes standard international cartridges. So for that, you have a lot of options. Kaweco has their line of cartridges, or I would probably suggest picking up a pack of, like a 6-pack of like J. Herbin cartridges, because they come in such beautiful colors. Or if you have a bunch of standard international cartridges, just grab a handful of yours and stick them in like an Altoids tin or something, so then someone can try a lot of different colors. I also know Private Reserve has like some standard international cartridges. I think Visconti does. So for that, I would just say pick up a pack of cartridges in some color that that person likes, and that'll work. If you do insist on getting someone, or if you're getting someone a pen of some sort that has a converter or something like that, like if you're going to get them like a Jinhao or something that comes with a converter and you want to get them some ink to go with it, you can of course buy ink samples, but I think that introduces again some more confusion because they can be hard to fill from. So if you want to get someone like a small quantity of ink, I really suggest these J. Herbin little teeny tiny ink bottles. These are like 10 milliliters of ink. And again, they're not the easiest to fill from, but like you can fill a Safari from one of these. I just did it today. But these come in a huge range of colors, and they're so adorable, and 10 milliliters of ink doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. Like, it will take someone a while to work through 10 milliliters of ink. Or I know that Iroshizuku has released their little like 15 milliliter bottles, and those are gorgeous. I don't have any yet, but gorgeous. So that's another good option to get someone like a small amount of bottled ink if you're getting them a pen that comes with a converter. So that's that. Okay, so then let's talk about some of these other ones. So how to kind of round it out. So I want to put together some packages of about $20. So that's why, like, with a pen and a pack of ink cartridges, that's going to be about $20 for one of the Pilot pens and a pack of Pilot cartridges. So otherwise, like, I would say pick, one option from paper and then one option from the other writing instruments. So like, let's say you're going to get someone a Palomino sampler pack, which was about $11, then get them a pack of field notes to go with it. So that comes out to about $21, $22. And that's, pencils work really great on field notes because it's kind of toothy. So it gives them some pencils and some paper that's really good for pencils. Boom, done. Or you could get them a pack of pencils and then get them a pencil sharpener to go with it. Because if they don't use pencils, then chances are they probably don't have a pencil sharpener. And you can buy like a Palomino long point sharpener or something like that, or like one of the bullet pencil sharpeners, or like a Coom or something like that. Just kind of take your pick. As long as you buy them a decent pencil sharpener, it'll be fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Or you can get them, a couple of pens in their favorite, colors, and then a pack of field notes or Story Supply Co. notebook. Again, you can, pick the notebook first and then add pens to reach about $20. And that really kind of rounds it out to a complete set, so things like that. So mix and match then paper and writing instruments to get them a full set. Or you could get them, $15 worth of pencils from like CW Pencils, and then a $5 pencil sharpener, or a couple of erasers or something like that. And that kind of rounds it out and makes it look not just like, oh, here's a couple of pencils, but it makes it look like you really put some effort into putting together this set of stuff for them. So then, okay, so let's say you love writing instruments and everything, and you want to get a writing instrument themed gift for someone, but they're not quite as into it as you are. But you're determined. You are gonna get them into it, and you want to get them something writing instrument related. Okay, so then what do? I would say then go for something fun and funky, because then if they don't use it, then it's just kind of like, well, it's because it doesn't work in their life, and it's not like a knock on you. So for that, I would say get someone highlighter pencils, because if you get someone highlighters, that's kind of it. But highlighter pencils are really fun, and they're a different kind of novelty item. These ones I really like. These are the ones I've been using. These are just the UB brand, and these are from Target, and I think it was like $4 for the pack of these. Or you can get Caran d'Ache ones from CW Pencils, and I think those are $3 or $4 a piece. But again, you can kind of mix and match. If you do get someone highlighter pencils, make sure that if they're fat ones like this, that you get them a pencil sharpener that will sharpen fat pencils. Very important. Or go really crazy and get them some of the Koh-i-Noor magic pencils, which I actually just got in the mail today from a friend of mine as a Christmas gift, and I hope you don't mind that I opened it. Thank you. You know who you are. So something like this. This is really fun and funky. It's not an everyday use kind of thing, but it's something that you can sit and doodle with and have some fun with, and it gets someone interested in thinking about the possibilities of writing instruments. Or get them a coloring book and some nice colored pencils. Coloring books are kind of all the rage right now, so there's tons to choose from. And you can either get them a set of colored pencils, or you can go into your local art supply store and pick out some like single colored pencils. I did that for my brother for his birthday. I actually cut some pages out of a coloring book I have because they're very intricate, and one page takes forever. And then I went and bought him a dozen Prismacolor pencils, but I didn't buy just like a pack of them. I picked out colors that were more interesting and unique, so it would make his coloring experience more fun. So I got him, a dozen colored pencils and then like a pencil sharpener that was meant for Prismacolors. And again, that came out to about $20. So there's lots of different ways that you can get gifts for people who maybe aren't quite as into writing instruments as you are, but maybe they want to be, or maybe you want them to be. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just me rambling for however long, but if it helped one person, then that's good enough for me. So yeah, I guess I will see you guys later. Bye.